Flosstube, welcome back to another weekly cross stitch update. I am Erin, the 2 Martini Stitcher, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. And this is my channel, and if you're new, welcome. We talk about cross stitch here. Pretty much that's it. I ramble a little bit. I wander off occasionally down a story or two, but other than that, this is pretty much all cross stitch all the time. So hope that's something you're interested in. Maybe stay and check it out. I actually did have, we normally start with Q&A anyway from the comments, so this relates. I actually had a commenter say that of some YouTube algorithm fluke, YouTube started showing her Flosstube videos as suggested videos, and she watches them and she started cross stitching, and that makes my heart so happy. So you never know, people do kind of maybe wander onto these videos and have no idea about this wonderful cross stitch community we have, and they just get sucked right in. So we love that. Okay, so we will start with a little Q&A. I, as always, read all of your comments. I don't respond to every single one, but I always will put a heart by it so you guys know I saw it. I love the comments. I read them all as they come in, and I get notifications on them. And then before I do my video on Sunday, I go through and just reread them and make sure everything gets a heart and respond to some of them. I appreciate your guys' comments so much. And last week, I had showed Crosses of the Kingdom that I'm stitching for my parents, and I had mentioned wanting to stitch something for my in-laws, but not really sure, and was looking for suggestions kind of based on an idea I had in my head with 3 houses and yada yada. So many great suggestions. I really appreciate it, and there were some fabulous ones out there, and I still haven't nailed down what I'm doing, but there are a lot more ideas percolating around on what that might look like. So thank you guys so much for the help. You all are a wealth of information. Also, along with new cross stitchers in the comments, I noticed that we have a new floss tuber. Candace K mentioned in the comments that she was thinking about starting a floss tube. And so I clicked over to her profile, and sure enough, I think yesterday she uploaded her first one. So I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I immediately subscribed and put it on my watch list. So go check out Candace K. I should be doing more shout outs. I used to do them all the time. Next week shout outs for sure. I've been watching a lot of Flosstube. I'm not staying caught up. Like, there's so much Flosstube going on right now, and I am here for it. I am here for every single WIP parade. And did you guys see Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, did a full WIP parade? It was like in 2 parts. I am here for all of the mania plans, all of the WIP parades. Amy Loves Toads did a finish parade. Bring it on. I am here for all of it. So I'm trying to stay caught up and check out new people too. So I'm gonna try to remember to do some more shout outs for new YouTube people to watch. But this week, Candace K. I'm gonna go watch her as soon as I'm done here, actually. For all of you that are new, this is typically cocktail hour. It's usually cross stitch happy hour with cocktail. But today I'm just drinking, I call this my go-go juice, Mama's go-go juice. It's a little energized. So not a cocktail, but it's a little early. I'm filming a little earlier in the day today so that we can have an early dinner before my middle daughter goes to work, and because I have a stitchy Zoom date later this evening. So about the time that I would normally be filming, I have a stitchy date, and it's the first one I'm hosting. So I have a stitchy date partly because I want to, because we have to do what we need to do these days to keep ourselves sane. But also I wanted to test out on a close friend hosting a Zoom stitchy meetup. Becca of Sambry Stitches, who is doing daily videos, also here for that. She just hit 1,000 subscribers. Woo-hoo! Yay, Becca! So go check out Becca at Sambry Stitches. I will link all of these lovely Flosstubers below, of course. Wealth of information in the description box below. If it falls out of my mouth, I try to put a link to it in the description box, along with all the info on all the works in progress that I will show in a bit. Anyhow, Becca, Sambry Stitches, has been doing so many fabulous Stitchy Zoom meetups, like twice a week. And so I thought, but they're all Pacific time in the evening, which is fantastic. And we have lots of people on them. And she really is giving back a ton to this community by hosting those. And I thought if I could help, that would be great. Like, there might be a day that she just says, I can't, I've got too much stuff going on. And I also thought it might be helpful occasionally to do one that would be maybe in the morning here, which would be later in the evening on East Coast time, or we have lots of international stitchers too that even come to these meetups, which is amazing and fantastic. So long story short, Becca does not probably need me to help her because she's fantastic. But I just thought if I could upgrade my Zoom account so that I could do that, it might be helpful occasionally to have somebody else that's available to host. So I'm testing it out. See, I take little detours. All right. So the only other question that I thought that I wanted to address to everybody, because I thought probably somebody else has this question too. Someone said, oh, I noticed you stitch in hand. Could you do a video of how you do that? Probably. I just need to figure out camera angles. So one, I will work on that because I do stitch the vast majority of my projects in hand. I do have a couple Q-snaps. My full coverage pieces are on Q-snaps and like one or two other projects. Essentially, my full coverage ones are on Q-snaps to help me wrangle all the fabric. And any project that I don't like holding or touching the fabric because it's really rough and stiff goes in a Q-snap. That's pretty much it. Anything else that's pleasant to hold, I just hold it. That's how I was taught. I was taught how to stitch in hand. So I do. So I will see about making a video of how I do that. I don't know that I have any wisdom to impart there, but you never know. However, I do know that Stitchin' Mommy, and I'll link her below, she stitches everything in hand as well, including her big full coverage pieces. She has big full coverage Hayes. She does Miras. She stitches everything in hand, and she has a fantastic video on how she does it. She rolls, which is kind of sort of what I do too, but she seems much more put together about it. She has a very definite method. My method is probably more described as wadded up in my hand. And she has a great video showing how she does that on different size projects. So I will link her below, and where it says Flosstube people mentioned, the link for Stitchin' Mommy, instead of being to her channel, I will link directly to that video. She's also just a fantastic Flosstuber and one of my regulars that I watch. I really enjoy her. So that's Stitchin' Mommy. She has a fantastic video on stitching in hand on everything from small pieces to great big, large, like Amy Stewart's stitching shelf sized Hayes. Very impressive. Okay. What did I stitch on this week? Works in progress. So first, one other thing I did want to mention. You guys probably noticed last week, I forgot to show Harry Potter book covers. I don't know what was going on with me last week. I realized it as I was cleaning up, filmed another quick little segment, tacked it on at the end. That all had sound on my computer. Still does. If I play it back on my computer, it had sound. Just that last 2-minute segment, the sound dropped off in the YouTube upload, and I have no idea why. thank you to those of you that pointed it out to me. By the time it was pointed out to me, like a day later, which also tells me a lot of you people don't watch to the end. Yeah, I wouldn't either. They're too long. I'm too rambly. And I did say bye. I was like, bye. And you guys were probably like, bye. And then I came back and went, oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot to show Harry Potter book covers. Here it is. That 2-minute segment didn't have sound. But by the time I realized it, or somebody mentioned it, I didn't want to take the video down and re-upload because I would have lost all the comments. So there you go. Y'all listen to me yammer on enough. I figured the silence at the end was probably golden. So, however, I'm not going to make the same mistake this week. And I'm going to show you Farewell to Anger right off the bat. So full coverage piece in rotation this week was Farewell to Anger. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's just the regular chart. Regular size, regular amount of colors. And this is where I got to it. I was definitely feeling this project more than I was the last time it was in the rotation. So last time I was working on this diagonal, but hadn't finished it. So this time I finished out the bottom of that diagonal and started back up here. And the diagonals have gotten to the size that I decided cross-country stitching through the entire diagonal was not really reasonable anymore. And I think that's why I had kind of burnt out on it. So when I started this one, I've now started stitching in like 200 stitch chunks and then parking below that, or in this case, off to the side. I still love Pattern Keeper. I use Pattern Keeper to stitch my full coverage pieces. It makes it so fast when the highlight up. And especially because there are times, like you can kind of see here, I stitched a little bit out of the diagonal. It's super handy because like I could see that there were like 2 or 3 stitches in that same color here, and then there weren't any more stitches in that color until all the way down here. So rather than parking that thread or ending it and starting a new one, I just stitched those couple of stitches there. And so that happens occasionally, but mostly I'm working in 200 stitch blocks. So my diagonals are 10 stitches wide, and I'm doing like 200 stitch chunks. I pretty much do 200 a night, or that's what I'm shooting for. So there we go. So you can see I finished off that diagonal and got halfway through this one. So we're now to the point that these diagonals are long enough. I'm not going to be doing complete diagonals, but look at how good that looks. It's amazing. I'm stitching this on 25 count Easy Grid Lugana, or Easy Count. I can't remember what it's called. Pre-gridded. 25 count pre-gridded Lugana 1/1 full cross. And one of my friends, Shannon, she just restarted hers. I think she's Shannon Bromo on Instagram. Maybe I will link her below. She also has a Flosstube as well, and so I will link her Flosstube. But it's M&M. I think it's M&M Stitchers. So she's in Minnesota. She films with a friend of hers who lives in Michigan. They're a hoot. She just restarted her Farewell to Anger this week. I think she's doing mini max color version. It's like 250 colors. It's a lot of colors. So many colors. Very impressive. So, but she had asked what my back looked like. You guys ready to see the horror that is my back? I will say, I try to be, on regular pieces, a fairly neat stitcher. I will carry threads if you're not going to see it. And full coverage, all bets are off. I carry threads all over the place. It's horrific. You ready? Boom! That's the back. Look at that. See? Because I don't care. I will carry a thread from here and park it all the way down here like 400 stitches away. If there's enough thread on the needle to park it, I will park it. I wouldn't say I'm a thread waster, but I'm pretty frugal with thread in general, except for some reason on full coverage and honestly, Heaven and Earth Design charts their designs, and the floss usage chart they put on that in them is for stitching on 25 count with two strands of thread. Does anybody do that? Stitch 2 strands full cross on 25 count? That just seems like it would be way too tight for me. That you'd be fighting that the whole time, I feel like. So, but I don't think I realized that. This is my first Heaven and Earth Design. So I bought the floss usage chart. I'm stitching 1 strand. I already have twice as much floss as I need, so that's DMC. So it's not super expensive. So I feel like if I cut off this much floss, I've just cut off what, a cent of floss? Yes, it adds up, but all that to say, I'll carry those threads like a monster. So there we go. And then you can kind of also see how I roll up my fabric. I mean, right now I'm up in this corner. I'm up in the top left corner. So, so all the bulk of my fabric is down into the right. So that's how it ends up like a big old roll. And then I use these little thread spool keepers to keep it rolled up. There we go. I'm gonna need to move this pretty soon. I think I can probably easily stitch maybe 1 more, and then I'm gonna have to maybe move it over. I don't know, when these diagonals get really long, I'm not even gonna be able to do a full diagonal on the, like I'm gonna have to move the Q-snap in the middle of the diagonal, I'm realizing. That's a future me problem. You have all looked at Farewell to Anger enough now, right? There you go. There we go. All right, what else did I work on last week? I did do all of the tasks in Enchanted stitching, and we're still doing cars this month. So it was week 3. The first task was we had to pick a town resident and stitch something that related to them in some way. So I picked Mater. I had told you guys maybe a couple weeks ago that, it was about a year ago that I kind of really fell down the rabbit hole and started stitching a lot of projects. I was super enabled by watching everybody do Stitch Mania. So April was really the first month that I still have projects that I started last April. Harry Potter book covers, and then I had 2 other projects that I started last April, but I hadn't written stuff down, so I didn't really know what dates. But I wanted to work on them in April. So I slotted both of those projects in to tasks this week so that I could touch them. And then as it turned out, they both showed up on my time hop. I'd taken pictures of them when I started them because I know that I started both these projects for School of Magical Stitches homework. As a result, like I started a lot of projects last year for School of Magical Stitches. So they showed up on my time hop because I had taken pictures of their start or like their finish for homework. And so now I know what date these were started. So the first one is Everything is Fine. Did not bring my phone up, and there's no cover picture. I don't even have one. I'm looking over here because I do have photos of some of my projects. I used to hang up photos of my projects on a cabinet over here so that I could see them all. At a certain point that went away because I can't fit that many pictures on that one little cabinet door. I thought maybe there was a picture of it over there. I will link this below. It is the welcome sign from The Good Place that says, "Welcome, everything is fine." And I related this to Mater because Mater's kind of like the town welcome wagon. And he certainly has a sunny attitude about everything. He's super positive. Everything's always great. Everything is always fine in Mater's world. So here's welcome, everything is fine. I have all of welcome and the exclamation point done. So I did 250 stitches, which was like the rest of this T and some of this Y. This is nice, easy stitching. I think I did this on a Sunday night stitchy meetup that Becca hosted. because it's pretty easy to stitch on this and not have to think too hard. So welcome, everything is fine. I also figure if I stitch on every piece on its birthday, then that also gives me a chance to decide if I still want to keep it. And I still like that. I know exactly where I'm gonna hang it in my entryway. And it'll be great when it's finished, but I'm also not in a huge hurry. It's not something I feel needs to get finished right now, so that's okay. And I started that on April 20th. So, I happened to be working on it on the 20th. So that actually got worked on its birthday. Yay me. Okay, next was, second task was something European, either European designer or European styled, and that's because Luigi likes the European race circuit. Right. So I went with, for something European, I went with French Kitchen Collection. Because French Kitchen. They were inspired by French country. Decorating. This is also my WIP Go piece for April. And I have it on my WIP Go board as a finish. I don't know that I'm going to finish it, but I am going to certainly try. Maybe I'll work on this evening. Try to fit it into another task this week. I don't know that that'll get it done, but it'll get it certainly close. I have a needle I'm trying to figure out. Okay. And here's where French Kitchen Collection is. So I finished out this whole little arbor and the back. I don't know if that's supposed to be wallpaper. I don't know. I like it. That was super fun to stitch. So now this top half, other than back stitching, is done. And then I came down here and started on this little blackbird on the mint plants. So I just have these 3 mint plants and this border down here, and then all the back stitch. So I am really close. This is really pretty. This is still a club kit from Inspired Needle. So there's 4 in this series. They're a collaboration between Hands On Design and Summer House Stitchworks. And so they're exclusive to Inspired Needle right now, but I think that you can still buy them as a kit from them. I say that every week and I never remember to go check, but I think that you can. So this is stitched with all the called for materials. It's Weeks Dye Works thread, and the linen is French Blue by Hand Dyed by Stephanie, and it's so pretty. So there we go, French Kitchen Collection for my European inspired task. And then next was, we had to stitch on something that took us in an unexpected direction because Lightning McQueen races Doc Hudson and he spins out and flies off in an unexpected direction. So however you interpreted that, you had to link it to something that took you in an unexpected direction. So I worked on my next piece that I started last April, which was New York City by Awesome Pattern Studio. And I picked this for this task because I goofed when I was working on this not last, but somewhere I goofed. I goofed somewhere where these 2 buildings meet up, and I didn't realize it until I started stitching the Statue of Liberty. So I kind of had to almost like rechart. The Statue of Liberty is now either too short or too tall, and this bit is off. There's been a lot of fudging and recharting off in an unexpected direction that I did not plan to do. So when I worked on this, I was finishing up the Statue of Liberty, and you can see I have a thread hanging. I hit 250 stitches. I'm like, I'm done. And this you can see doesn't quite, it's 1 too close over. I think it looks okay. I don't know that you can really tell. This will get filled in with gray. I don't think you can really tell that it's wrong. I'm still not decided if I'm like hanging on to this as a WIP. It's kind of been on the edge of being UFO'd for a while. It's not that I don't like it. I started it at a time that I didn't know a lot. I didn't have a lot of supplies. I love these city charts. So I think I'll hang on to it. Some floss tubers talk about which of their WIPs are active WIPs and which are not. And they're not abandoning them totally. They're just not actively working on them. And I would say that this is definitely not an active WIP. I don't think I'm getting rid of it. Stitching on it again did not make me go, I love this, I want to keep stitching on it. It made me go, And it could be that because right now I really am hoping that our trip to New York is not canceled, and it's just, the whole thing is making me a little sad. I don't know. Or it could be that I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. I mean, I could put it in a hoop finish and give it to Abby. She could hang it in her room maybe, but. So that's New York City by Awesome Pattern Studio. I'm not UFOing it, but I would definitely say that's not an active WIP. How about that? So, okay, what was next? Last was something so beautiful that you fell in love with it right away. I think that was related to Sally. Why am I blanking on the character's name? In Cars, that owns the Cozy Inn Motel. So she shows Lightning McQueen the view of Radiator Springs that made her fall in love with the city. So I worked on my birthday start from last month because the 24th was Friday, and I said I was going to work on this every 24th, the 24th of every month. I worked on it a day early just because that's how the schedule worked out, but I do love this pattern. There we go. It is a kit from Al Forrest Embroidery. I did swap out the fabric just because I felt like the cut of fabric that came with the kit was a little small. It definitely would have fit. It for sure would have fit. I just didn't love the fabric. And I wanted something with I wanted to be able to have a little larger margin. The fabric's already been repurposed into a Mania Start, so fabric will get used. I just switched it out, but I'm using all the kit flosses. So that's Duke Clover. It was my birthday start last month, and here it is now. So this is a 32 count platinum. It's 32 count platinum linen with all the kit flosses, and I love it. So I had a little bit of a start on this bottom motif, and I finished stitching that one up, which was more than 250 stitches, but I wanted to get that whole motif done. It's so pretty. I love the flosses that come in this. They're great to work with, and the variegation is so pretty. So, and I'll show you the back of this one too. Maybe I should just be showing you all the backs. So there's my back of this one. Yeah. It'll be show me your backside, as Michelle Bendy would say, show me your backside. It'll be show me your backside day today. I didn't show you my other ones. Oh well, sorry. Okay, so that was Duke Clover, and that took me through Thursday of last week. And then Friday, while we're in our current stay-at-home situation, I have been starting a new Be Well and Stitch, hashtag Be Well and Stitch pattern. If you guys aren't familiar with the Be Well and Stitch, it's a hashtag on Instagram, and a lot of the wonderful, talented cross-stitch designers were releasing free charts, little freebie charts, to kind of just foster some community. And I think with the hope that if you needed some supplies, you would support your local needlework store in this kind of uncertain time for them. So I've been starting one of those a week, and this week I did, find it, the one from Janette Douglas. So there it is. And here's my take on it. I did stick with that same color palette. And I mean, I think her chart calls for like 12, 14 colors. So I way pared down the colors and just used what I've been using on all of the other ones. So here's mine. I'm doing them all in a similar color palette. Don't ask me what happened here. I don't know. I am going to try to squeeze one more little one down here this week. We'll see. If I can squeeze it in. And then eventually I'm going to make these all into little pillows, and I'll have a whole bowl of ones that I stitched while we were staying at home. So luckily there's plenty of charts because I think we're still going to be home for quite a while. I don't know how this is going to go in May, honestly. It's going to be hard to fit these in May. We'll see. We'll talk about plans later. So, but there we go. So I can tell you the colors. It's the dark red that I can never remember. Gentle Arch Country Redwood. Country Redwood. The lighter is Week's Bluecoat Red. The green is Week's Collards. The little darker gold is Week's Schnekley. The lighter yellow is Classic Colorworks Finley Gold. The brown is Hickory Sticks, and this purple is like unnamed Color and Cotton. That must have been some type of limited edition that I got. I'm sure I got that as a gift from Trisha at Threads Entwined, because she's wonderful and sends goodies frequently with your order. Okay, so that was Be Well and Stitch. So I started that on Friday, finished it on Saturday. So I started that Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon I sat down for the big and a forest grew start. Oh my gosh, guys, it was so exciting to see everybody starting this in the Facebook group or picking up their WIP. So here's the chart, And a Forest Grew by Rosewood Manor. It's amazing. This is a stitch along with myself and Spunky Jen, who's also stitching in the bluegrass. She's stitching in the bluegrass on Flosstube, Spunky Jen on Instagram. So this is a stitch along co-hosted by us, which I don't even know what that means other than we came up with a crazy idea to start this on Arbor Day, and a whole bunch of y'all are crazy enough to join us. So the hashtag for this is And a Forest Grew Sal, and also hashtag all the freaking trees. Freaking, not freaking, all the freaking trees. They'll be below. Because seriously, y'all, look at all those trees. They're amazing. Okay, so that's the pattern. We started on Arbor Day. This bag is in this beautiful project bag because really, Jen and I are hosting this, or decided to start it. It is really, and she'll say it's all my fault. It's really all Daylene's fault. That's so grateful. Because when I bought this pattern last fall and said, I want to stitch this before I die, Daylene said, what are you waiting for? Start stitching. Seriously, she said it much nicer than that. She's like, why? Why wait? You can do it. That's pretty much what she said. Why wait? You can do it. Just pick it up. One tree at a time. You can totally stitch that, is what she said. And then she made me a beautiful project bag and sent it to me and said, this is for your And a Forest Grew project. And so then the next month at Acorns and Threads, First Thursday meetup, she was there and I said, okay, Daylene, help me pick out fabric. And she did. And we picked out this 36 count soft ivory linen. She helped me pick out fabric and she said, when are you starting it? I said, I don't know. It's a big special project. It deserves like a special day to start it. And she said, like what, Arbor Day? And we all laughed. And then I looked up when Arbor Day was. Cheers to Arbor Day. I'm telling you guys, the people in the cross stitch community are the most generous, amazing, talented, clever, and witty people I have ever met. If you're not watching Daylene, so grateful. Go watch her. Last week, I mean, her stitching is amazing. Like, amazing. I mean, she of course has And a Forest Grew finished and on her wall. Of course she does. because she's like the most amazing stitcher. She did a video last week, if you hadn't seen it, where she put in the last 5 stitches of A Savior's Praise with the Flosstube community. And that is a beautiful stitch. Whew. But here's my start on And a Forest Grew. So on Friday, I got this one tree in, and then over the weekend, because it's 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. Happy 24 hours of cross stitch marathon weekend. Woohoo! I've been stitching a lot this weekend. Oh wait, I'm hitting 24 hours. I'm actually keeping track though this weekend. I set a timer for 24 hours on Friday when I started stitching. I think I still have I think I've done 12 hours over Friday and Saturday. Not gonna get 12. I mean, I'm out now. I can't. It's 4 in the afternoon on Sunday. I'm not getting another 12 hours in. But I did the big tree on Friday, and then I did this smaller tree and this bird over the weekend. So here's one of my tricks. If we're gonna talk stitching in hand, this is a pretty big project. I have a needle minder, and some people will talk about how they don't use needle minders because they stitch in hand. I still use needle minders. I do understand, one, I tend to pick small, very lightweight needle minders because you really don't want something big and heavy dragging your fabric down. But I also, as I'm stitching, I tend to have my needle minder down to the right. So it's where the fabric is flowing anyway. And then when I take my needle off, I'll just, put it down there. And then sometimes I'll bring the needle minder back up, usually when I'm putting the project away. But in general, I tend to just put the needle minder where the fabric's laying anyway. However, I do have this other big needle minder on here, and both of these are from Abby Topknot. I don't know if she still has them, but both of these tree ones, that pretty tree one, and then look at this gorgeousness. So this one is kind of big and heavy, but I have it holding, I rolled up some of that excess fabric because this thing is big, guys. Here, I'm gonna take that off. There goes the magnet. Just stuck to my metal table. I'll get that later, don't worry. You can see this is big. And it keeps going. And it keeps going. I'm stitching all the way up here. So what I did was I rolled up all this excess. Rolled it up, rolled it up, rolled it up, rolled it up. And then I put that needle minder to hold that roll. And then it just kind of sits on my lap, honestly. And then as I stitch, I'll roll this side up, as I start stitching and get further and further. And then I just hold that, I'm right-handed, so I hold that in my hand and stitch this way. So I tend to just have the excess rolled up. Honestly, on the bottom, I just let it lay in my lap. See, there's no real, and that's also why you'll notice when I show all my projects, they're always super wrinkly because I've been wadding up the extra fabric in my hand. See, all wrinkly. Because I've been wadding up that fabric in my hand. So there you go. That's my not so scientific or well shown tutorial. That's not even a tutorial. Go watch Stitchin' Mommy. She has a fantastic one. And I will see about figuring out some kind of camera setup where you can maybe see my stitching over my shoulder so you can see how it lays. I do sometimes play with the idea of a stand, but then that would mean I would have to move to hoops or Q-snaps. I kind of like the idea of a lap stand, but at the same time, how I stitch now, I like, and it's working for me. So there you go. Okay, so that was And a Forest Grew. Saturday was Merry 25 stitching, and it was also Jessie Marie's birthday. Jessie Marie Does Stuff, and she was hosting a birthday sal called #ShortestBDaySal because it's her 32nd birthday. So it was a 30-second short amount of time. So you could stitch on anything that was time related. So I thought, well, Christmas winter is a season of time. So I would still do Mary 25 stitching, but I had to decide what project I wanted to work on for Jessie Marie. And I pulled out one that I have not touched yet this year. And so it seemed fitting for me to pull out a WIP that I had not touched yet for Jessie Marie. So I picked Peace on Earth by Cottage Garden Sampling. So there we go. Peace on Earth. So Peace on Earth came out for the first time this year, guys. I am stitching this on 36 count Fog Lifter linen by R&R with one strand of the called for floss. Sort of, and I'll tell you that in a moment. So here's where I got to. I already had Peace on Earth, this snowflake, and the border done. So I started working on the house. I know it looks weird. This is how my mind works, guys. I started at the bottom. This is the other thing too. I like to stitch from the top down. That's just how my brain works. I like to start in top left, stitch top down. I also am lazy and don't like to count very far. So I thought, well, I'd like to work on the house. To start at the top of the house, I would have to count quite a ways from here or here, which leads to mistakes. The closest point was off of here. So I just turned it upside down, turned the pattern upside down, and stitched. And this is apparently how my brain works, going around windows and such. It looks super weird. I'm aware. My brain's messed up. Not really. I mean, all of our brains work differently, which I love, but there's a little insight into how my brain works and why you think you started on the house, Erin, and that's what you have? Like the middle sort of the house? Yes. This is how my brain works. I started stitching from the bottom, around the door, up against this window, up this direction, around that window. I don't like to carry threads. I don't like to count that far. So on light fabric like this with the red, I did not want to carry threads behind the windows. So I went stitching around the windows. So I did a little house, and then I thought, I better get started on this big field of snow. Because if I leave this to the end, this whole chart will get done and then left. When I last left this project, I am using chalk. It calls for General Arts chalk, one strand. This shows up better in person than it does on camera, but it's still really light on this fabric. I like it. I like the effect, but I thought I would want something, I would want it to show up more in the snow field. So I thought about changing to a more gray, white. I knew that we had had a whole conversation about this last November, December. So I actually went back to find that video, one, to figure out what white I was even stitching, because it was clearly one strand, and I thought that could be one strand of sulky for all I know. I don't have sulky in the bag, but who knows what white I picked up. So I went back to my video, thank heavens for Flosstube, to figure out what white I was stitching. It's chalk. So, and there were lots of good suggestions. People had lots of good suggestions, like use a more gray white, maybe use 2 strands for just the white. I thought 2 strands might be a little too bulky. So what I've been doing is I've been doing the top leg twice. So I'm using 1 strand, doing individual X's, and then coming back across and putting another leg over top. And I think that looks great. I think 2 strands would be too bulky and tight on the 36, but that looks great. And it's gonna make that snow. And I think I'm gonna do actually all these snowflakes with 1 strand, because I kind of feel like it looks like that way. It's like it falls through, as snow falls to the ground, it looks really delicate, but then it piles up, right? So that's my plan. I'm going with it. I mean, I could cross over all those X's in the snowflake, but I think I'm gonna like that contrast. So there we go. Peace on Earth. I really love that piece. It's beautiful. I cannot wait to stitch that bird. I'm leaving him for last. He's gonna be my reward, stitching that bird. So, all right. Oh no. The last thing I stitched, I left downstairs. Hold on, I'm gonna pause you. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I knew I was gonna do that too when I set this piece down. All right, Jessie Marie, I left you showing you Peace on Earth. So I've done all my enchanted stitching tasks, started And a Forest Grew, Mary 25 stitching, Jessie Marie's birthday, Be Well and Stitch. This was a good stitchy week. Now I'm to like Saturday afternoon, 24 hours of cross stitch. I'm gonna try to get as much stitching in as I can. I was like, what do I work on? Well, it's the end of April, my friends. We have less than a week left. So I figured I better get that yearbook done. Boom, boom. I did my Lizzie Kate May yearbook and it's all done. Last you saw this, there was like a tiny little bit of house and a door. But these stitch up so fast and they're fun to stitch. I like this one a lot. So there we go. So there's May yearbook in the bag. I kind of feel like I should start June because next month's going to be crazy with all the starts. So there we go. So I did have a finish. Ta-da! Which is why I was sitting waiting to be ironed and have the charm attached to it. And that's it. That's everything I worked on. It feels like a lot. I don't feel like I did a lot of stitching, but I guess I did a lot of stitching this week. Plans. So that leads us to some plans. It's the last week of April. I am assuming that there's going to be enchanted stitching challenges because the week goes through Thursday. It's my hubby's birthday this coming week. His birthday's on Wednesday. He said he wants to celebrate next weekend. So we'll probably do fun takeout and get a cake and I'll let him pick the movie we watch because we can't go do anything. So another birthday celebration at home. So I'm gonna do the enchanted stitching challenges. I would like to try to finish Strawberries and Mint. I would maybe like to get a start on June yearbook. Strawberries and Mint was also my WIP for Choose My WIP, so I do need to get some more work done on that actually before Tuesday. And the current alphabet soup in Semi-Sane Stitchers were on I. And I'm going to use my Quaker Geometric Puzzle by Ink Circles. So I need to get some work done on that as well. So those are kind of the plans. Strawberries and Mint, Quaker Geometric Puzzle, and maybe getting started on the June yearbook. I also have some projects that are sitting around that I've started recently that I would like to touch a little bit more before May starts, but I'm running out of days. So we'll see what gets stitched on between now and May 1st, and then May 1st. So here's the plans. Oh, first, I'm sure that you guys saw, I did post up my video showing all the rest of my possible Mania starts that I had kitted up. So all of my stuff for Mania, all of my projects for Mania, I either already had kitted up and we're sitting here waiting for a reason to start, or I kitted up mostly from stash. So I pulled fabric, flosses that I had. I did order flosses. I did make 2 big floss orders. Like I used some gift certificates for my birthday to make some floss orders to fill in. But all of that really kind of came from stash, especially the fabric. And so it was really fun to show you guys what I picked, what I chose for my stash to kit up. However, I missed one. And I promise this was there. I had tea-dyed the fabric. Because I told you guys I was going to cut myself off and not put any more projects in there. I swear I didn't. I promise this one was there. But I missed showing you guys this one, and so I wanted to show it so it didn't pop up on the wheel and you're like, Erin, where did that project come from? And I showed it during my stash dives too. It's this Forget-Me-Not sampler that I had bought. This is an older kit, 2013. This was some kind of club exclusive kit, maybe, I don't know. Acorns and Threads found like a box of them last summer. I actually think Farm Girl, Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl on Flosstube. She was either working on this was in like one of her Mania stash die whip parade type videos this time last year. And I was like, oh, I love that. I wonder if I can get it. And I, you know how you do. You're watching Flosstube, you're like, I like that. I need that. Find it on 123 Stitch, put it on a wish list, put it in a cart somewhere. And so she showed it and I realized, oh, you can't get that. That doesn't exist anywhere. Bummer. The next day, Acorns and Threads posted on their Instagram that they found a box of them in their back room. They're like, we found a box of these. If you want one, call the shop. Ring, ring. Hi, Janine. Yes, please. So she sent it to me. So it came all kitted up. It's with thy needle and thread. It's called Forget Me Not Sampler. So it came with came with the chart, of course, and it comes with all of the flosses, which is all Weeks Dye Works. And then it came with a piece of ivory linen. And it says, I think it also came with a needle, even. It says, begin with a piece of linen. I distressed the linen before I began my stitching. This step will give the linen a nice time-worn look. And essentially, she tells you to tea coffee dye it. Is what she tells you to do. So I did. And look how good it came out. A little darker than what I was expecting. The linen, this is the first time I've tea coffee dyed linen. I've done a lot of even weave and Aida, but in general, like, I tend to buy linen that I like. Like, I'm buying linen I really like, and it's maybe even over dyed or hand dyed linen. I'm not dunking that in tea coffee. But this was just like, I think Lisa Kindred Stitcher said it's a Weeks because it is 35 count. It's 35 count cream linen. It was just cream, and she said to distress it. It took the tea real quick, like really fast. But look how good it came out. So it's a little darker than maybe I would have been shooting for, but it came out so good. And I think that the flosses on it are going to look great. So there we go. So this is Forget Me Not Sampler by Brenda Gervais. So, but it wasn't with my stuff because I had just that day, like that morning, I had tea dyed this and it was up by my iron because it came out super wrinkly. And I was like, ooh. And I'd asked Lisa, I had messaged her and asked her, because she had showed her finish. She finished it as a drum. It looks so good, her finishing. It was on her Instagram and it still looked pretty creamy and beautiful. Her finish is beautiful. And so I messaged her and said, did you tea dye it? Like, did you use the kit linen? Did you tea dye it? She said, I did. I didn't tea dye it for very long, and watch out, it's wrinkly. She said, like, I had trouble getting the wrinkles out. Oh, she wasn't kidding. After I tea dyed it, this stuff was so wrinkly. A little best pressed though, and it looks okay. I think, I mean, of course it's gonna get wrinkly with me handling it because stitch in hand. So, we'll see how it looks when it comes out. But I really love how the tea dye came out on that linen. It came out real good. I mean, it's got kind of like, you guys can see, it's kind of almost splotchy a little bit, which I like. I like it, especially for this piece. So there you go. That's my last pause. It's going on the wheel, but I wanted to show you guys. Okay. Plans. Let's talk May. Let's talk May plans. In that last kitted parade, I asked, hey, are you guys interested in like daily videos? Because when I first started watching Flosstube a little over a year ago, I loved the daily videos. Like, some people do them in May when they're starting stuff. And the resounding response I got was yes, daily videos. So my plan as of right now, everything's going to be, some starts have specific days, actually only 2, because I'm doing stitch along with a couple people on a couple pieces. But for the most part, I'm going to be spinning a wheel every day to see what I work on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do daily videos. Yay! Yay for daily videos. They will be short. Yay for short videos from Erin. Also, woohoo! So they'll be short. I'm going to probably show what I worked on the day before, spin the wheel, show you that project. I will definitely be back this time. Like, I'll definitely record a regular Flosstube video next week because I'll have all of the last week of April stuff to show. Depending on how these daily vlogs go, I may just do daily in May and not do regular wrap-up videos. So for May, I am doing 21 starts. So I'm starting a new project every weekday. I have 4 projects. Did I grab them? Of course I did not. That would make too much sense. I have 4 projects left over from last May. My friend's collage, a Mill Hill kit, a latte kit, a little plastic little covers kit. She occasionally does like themed boxes, plastic little covers on Etsy. I'll link her below. I love her stuff. I have a pattern that came in a stitchy box from her. And then my Christmas list. We're all started in May. So during the week, every weekday, I will be starting a new project. And then on the weekends, each weekend, I will work on one of those projects, as well as like the Be Well and Stitch, fitting in like things like tingles, the things I work on monthly, I'm gonna have to slot in on the weekend. I don't know how the full coverage stitching is gonna go in May. I don't know. I think that I will still be stitching on the full coverage pieces, in which case I'll show you those on like a daily Sunday vlog. So on the weekends, you'll see WIPs, you'll see the other stuff I'm working on, you'll see the full coverage pieces, but I think I'm just gonna do like little quickie vlogs every day, and you'll have short little videos from me every day. How about that? So that's what I'm thinking. Of course, plans are subject to change at any moment, but for now, that's my plan. And so that will actually be starting Friday. But next Monday, there will be, or maybe Sunday, I don't know, around about a week. Sometime next weekend, I will film a regular Flosstube and put it up to show you everything I worked on these last few days in April. Okay, all I have left is haul. I can bring my phone up so I don't have the giveaway winner. Ooh, I might. Okay, let's do haul first and then I'll worry about giveaway. Whew, Erin, get your act together. All right. Oh, first I want to show you a little stitchy kindness. My friend Carrie had a few things that as she was going through her stuff, she's like, I'm not going to stitch these. I am not going to use this linen I don't care for. Do you want it? Of course. I'll stitch on anything. And so she dropped this off at my doorstep this week. It is a piece of 30 count antique lamb's wool linen fabric. So this is it. It's kind of wrinkly. I can press it. So there we go. It's a 30 count. I don't know what 30 count is. Like what base that is. That's not a Zweigert base, is it? Is that a weeks thing? Is it a weeks base? Maybe. Anyway, look at that. That's a big old piece of linen. I'll stitch something on that for sure. Thank you, Carrie. And she also sent over a couple of patterns. The first one is Cricket Collection Autumn. I haven't done any of these and I love them, which means, you know, I'm going to have to get the whole series, right? But look at that cat and the owl. I like turkey alert. Yeah, so that's great. I will put that in my stash. That will get stitched at some point. And then this one is so pretty. It's Silver Creek Samplers. It's called Michael's Prayer. I'm going to show that to you. And it has a little story about Michael Judge, who was a Franciscan friar and Catholic priest. And he died in 9/11. So, and this is one of his prayers. And that is beautiful. Yeah. Love that. Look at that eagle and the angel. That's pretty. I like Silver Creek samplers. So that was a little bit of Stitchy Kindness from my friend Carrie. And then I did have a couple orders come in, things I ordered. When I kitted up all of my Mania projects, it pretty much used, it used almost all of my fabric stash. I still have some pieces, but my stack of stash fabric is now appallingly small. And then it made me nervous. It made me nervous. Like, that's the point of the stash, right? Is that you use it and you stitch on it. And I now have all these wonderful things kitted up and ready to go. I'm not gonna run out of things to stitch on, but like, what if I need some fabric? So I bought some more fabric. I love R&R. It's one of my favorite fabrics. And that's the other thing too, is then I start you start hearing that Zweigard's closed. There's apparently a run on gridded fabric. It's a good thing I'm not starting a full coverage project. Some of these raw materials are gonna get a little more scarce. And so I thought, well, it was late night shopping. Let's just peruse Etsy and see if anybody has some R&R fabric. Sure enough, one of, I think I talked about her last week, JT's Stitching Corner. I thought that I had a card. I don't have a card. JT's Stitching Corner. Lovely. She has a fantastic shop. She had posted on her Instagram that she had gotten this is what started it. She had posted on her Instagram that she had gotten some R&R fabrics in and was posting them up. Yeah, I ran over there. And I picked up a few fabrics. I got a 36 count Patriots Brew. I never had Patriots Brew before. I'm not gonna lie, some of these look really similar. A 36 count vintage homespun. I like this one a lot because it's a little more grayish, maybe. And then I got 36 count Winter's Brew. This is what I have Midnight Watch on, I think. This Winter's Brew, and it smells good. I don't know why, but this is a great color. So, but I'll tell you, it does look very similar to Patriots Brew. So if you need Winter's Brew fabric and can't find it, Patriots Brew, because look how close those are. Those are super close. And then this is a little more grayish. So there we go. So I bought some more, because lately 36 has been my favorite with one strand. I like stitching with one strand. And then while I was on Etsy, I don't know whether it suggested it. I don't know whether I just started seeing me ooh, who else has some R&R fabric? I found the Cottage Needle had some lovely fabrics, and I ordered a couple from Cottage Needle. I got a 28 count Abecedarian because after kitting everything up, I had no 28 count left in my stash at all. If I wanted to start a project on 28 count, couldn't do it. Didn't have any. Now I do. And this is just a really good neutral 28 count Abecedarian. And this was not R&R. This is by, wait, it says here, Mountain Air Fabrics. They're new. And this is a 36 count. It's called Egyptian Sand. Look at that. It's a little bit more modelly than I would normally use, go towards, but whoo, is that pretty or what? That's going to be, I don't know what I'm going to use that for, but that's fantastic. I don't know. That's pretty. So, she had some had several different kinds of fabric. So that was the entirety of my haul because I freaked out that I had used up all my linen stash kitting up May projects. So I went and bought some more linen. This is after I bought the color and cotton floss. Now I have stash to kit up more projects as I feel necessary. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today except for giveaway. So I'm gonna pause you for a quick second because I did the random YouTube comment picker and I took a picture of it and I didn't bring my phone up here. So I'm actually gonna pause you because I'm on my computer and I'm pretty sure that tab is still up on my computer. Actually, hold on. That tab was still open on my computer. Okay, so this is what I was giving away last week, was this really cute home sweet home chart. I asked you to tell me, just put home somewhere in your comments. And I ran the YouTube comment picker on that, and the winner is Kara Dayhoff. Kara Dayhoff, you won! Yay! So shoot me an email. My contact information is in the description box below. I will pop that in an envelope and get that out to you. Kara Dayhoff. And then I am going to do one more giveaway. And then I probably won't for May because I'm going to be doing daily videos. So, but I will be filming a regular Flosstube next week. So we will do a giveaway for next week. And I decided, since I got those fabrics on Etsy and I've been enjoying checking out some of the smaller Etsy sellers, that Beth Twist has been spinning on her little local needle workshop of the day wheel. And, you know, as we look for, as places run out of different threads and fabrics and we're looking for places to buy them, there's a lot of smaller online shops on Etsy. So I'm going to give away a $10 Etsy gift certificate. So you can maybe check out an Etsy seller, get a little bit of fabric, maybe a pattern or two. So that's going to be the giveaway for next week. And in the comments, let's think. I'm really not with the program this week, am I, guys? I should have thought of this beforehand. You can just say Etsy. Tell me who your favorite Etsy designer or shop is. Tell me your favorite Etsy designer, Etsy shop. If you have never bought anything on Etsy, you can just say that. ETSY, Etsy. That's what I'm going to be looking for next week to give away the gift certificate. As usual, do not say giveaway. I'll delete your comment. Please be 18. And that's it, guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to start all the fun projects in May, and I'm so excited that you guys want to come along on the ride with me. And also in May is my Flosstube anniversary. Oh, how am I going to do that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll have to celebrate that when we come back into regular Flosstubes in June. But May 16th was my first Flosstube, and I'm getting close to 3,000 subscribers, which floors me. When I published that first Flosstube, I was not sure there was going to be a second. I really kind of just wanted to be a part of the community and document my stitching journey because I was so excited, and I still am so excited about cross stitch. But I thought, if nobody watches it, okay. And I'm just floored that so many of you come back every week to hang out with me, and I appreciate it so much. So we'll do something big and fun for the Flosstube anniversary in June. How about that? It's a deal. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great week, and let's get excited for all the fun stitching in May. Cheers.